Hey there, this is Natalie with the latest dose of interesting Reddit stories. Remember to show some love to the subscribe button if you haven't already, as this is a new channel and it helps me out a lot. Now here's a fully updated concluded story from r/true off my chest, and the OP was user Nightwing_birdboy. And the title of this one is I'm in love with my married best friend. Doesn't sound like one that's going to end well, but you never know. We've got all the updates here, so let's find out. OP begins, I'm in love with my married best friend. We met when in college and pretty much grew with each other from there. Early on, I knew I had feelings for her, but she was dating another guy, so I never said anything. Wanted to be supportive, even though my feelings were hurt, but I never told her about how I felt, so didn't fault anybody but myself. She had mentioned having a crush on me at the time, but I didn't dig deeper into it. Didn't want to be a homewrecker. By the time they broke up, I'd moved away, but kept in touch. I took a brief vacation back home and planned to tell her my feelings then, but she was in a relationship with someone again. I never wanted to interfere with her relationships, so just never said anything. In time I found someone. I thought this was the one and married her, but the relationship soured. She became abusive, manipulative, and isolated me from all the people I was close to, including her. I did wind up getting a divorce and reconnecting with her. She got married. Through everything, she never stopped being my best friend. Other friends came and gone, but she remained, helping me through my lows and understanding why I'd disappeared. We always vibed with each other. We always connected on a deeper level than others. She understands how my mind works more than anybody else. She stimulates my brain and makes me laugh more than anyone else. She's the closest thing to a soulmate that I've ever had. For years, I've been deeply in love with her, and it hurts. It's been almost a decade, and my love for her has only gotten stronger, even when I tried to get over it or deny it. I have loved others, but not on the level that I love her. It's everything about her. Her humour, her mind, her flaws. I love everything. Sometimes my feelings leave me feeling both lonely and guilty while I'm talking to her. She isn't happy in her relationship. He's abusive and she's fed up with it. I remain as supportive and objective as I can, even though it kills me. I see what we can be. I want to pursue. I know she has some form of romantic feelings for me tucked away. What do I do? Do I just be supportive and if it happens, it happens? Should I distance myself? Should I risk it all, throw everything out there, ask her to be mine and hope for the best? I'm at a loss. This is an interesting one. From the title I was expecting it to be, a guy who's maybe been simping for some girl for a long time and she's married. He's kind of trying to get some validation from Reddit that he should go for it even though she's with someone. And now I've read this story, I don't think that that's really the case. It seems like he really does have deep feelings for her, and if we assume he's right in his perception of her also having at least at some point had feelings for him too, then this could be a situation where maybe he should go for it. It sounds like her current relationship is really toxic and bad for her, so it's not so much that he'd be wrecking a happy home, but then we only have his side of the story on that. I guess we'll have to see how it played out in the updates. But first, there are some comments from people on this original post, which I'll just read out to you. The Critical member says, if you put it all out there, there's a chance you'll regret it. If you don't, you're guaranteed to regret it. Go your hardest. Whereas Euphoric Wolverine said, you sure this isn't all in your mind? Out of the 430 words here, the only objective thing she said was, she had mentioned having a crush on me at the time, and that was still a long time ago. When you moved away, she did not pursue you. She married someone else. You got any more facts than these? Now, as to some of the below comments, if you're single and she's in a bad marriage, what is there to lose? Tell her how you feel, but you may not get the answer you want. If she really did or does love you, she's been sitting on her hands for 10 years. And OP replies, there have been more exchanges, admissions of feelings. Why didn't I marry you has been asked by both of us and our families. And I think if that's true and, he's not imagining that his feelings are reciprocated, then really he probably is best off shooting his shot and seeing what happens. But let's find out what he actually did. Update. I outright told her a few nights ago, and she admitted to having feelings for me as well for the entirety of our friendship. We had a long conversation. I told her I never wanted to be a homewrecker, to put her in this position, and if she needs me to go away, I understood. She doesn't want that. With everything going on with her husband, my support has been instrumental in her healing, despite us being states away. We've talked every day since my divorce, and pretty close to every day before then too. She's unsure about leaving her husband, despite everything he's done. I told her I'm not going to force her hand. I'm not going to beg for love. If she wants me, I want her to come willingly, and not out of some misplaced feeling of obligation. We've still talked every day since that conversation. Our talks are noticeably warmer, and I'm optimistic about our future, but terrified of ultimately losing her. Either way, I'm shooting my shot. She knows, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And there is another final update, so we will find out if it was indeed meant to be. But first, a couple of relevant comments to this one. We have VastFudge6334, which says, "Did you leave your wife for her, or for other reasons?" And OP confirms, "I left my wife for reasons unrelated to her." Important Pie 2496 asks, "All the best and good luck. Is she tied to this guy, such as kids?" And OP confirms, "No kids." And here is that final update, which also comes with a comment from the lady in the story. This update was posted 9 months after the original post, and it says, "Long story short, she's been my girlfriend for about 6 months. Long story long, not long after my last update, she caught her husband cheating. There had always been a suspicion, but this time the evidence was undeniable. Even worse, his circle of friends were encouraging and helping hide the affair. Since this man had forced her to move to a new town where she didn't know anybody except his friends, this left her both devastated and completely alone. I called as often as I could, DoorDash her meals when she was too depressed to eat, and helped walk her through the process of divorce, and the grief associated with it, just as she had done for me. I did not make a move during this time. I knew she wasn't ready. Then the holidays came around, and I was planning on flying into my home state to visit my family. She offered to pick me up from the airport, and I accepted. When I arrived, she jumped into my arms, giving me a long hug, and things just felt right. As time went on, we began to act more like a couple, until making it official in January. Since then, we've both visited each other and been growing stronger together. There are hurdles, scars from our past relationships, but we have so far been on a good path. I hope one day she can move over here with me, or I with her, but now I just take it day by day. I'm dating my best friend, and it feels very good." And now the girlfriend makes an appearance in the comments under the name user ReflectionSimple8271, and she says, "Hi, girlfriend here. My ex was not a nice man. He left me to care for myself when I had to have emergency brain surgery. He used me for money, and even wrote a song stating as long as I kept my thick thighs around him, he'll keep his mouth shut. During proceedings, he attempted to hide more than $11,000 from me. I didn't start dating OP till after divorce proceedings were over. By then, my ex was on his third girlfriend and had moved away. OP saved me. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be alive today. So everyone is entitled to their opinion, but I will say this. I refuse to apologise to my abuser for what he did to me. And funny enough, I made a throwaway account when all this started, so who knows, maybe you'll come across it one day. Also, side note, I forgot to add, I found out about this post after we started dating. Oh, so this story did turn out to have a happy ending after all. It's always hard to go into stories where somebody's pursuing someone who's married or in a relationship and expect to be siding with OP, but in this case, where the relationship was abusive and the woman in question did actually have feelings for him, before she got together with her ex, I think it's, maybe in some cases being a homewrecker is actually saving somebody from a bad domestic situation. But what do you guys think about this one? Let me know down in the comments. Now here's a fully updated and concluded story that was originally posted to r/am I the butthole, and it's entitled, Am I the butthole for telling my wife I'm not going to sacrifice my hobbies just so that I can babysit? And it was originally posted by user logicalcarpet4381. And his original post says, "My wife Jane, 34 female, and I, 38 male, have been together for 5 years. She also brought my stepdaughter Emily, 9 female, into our marriage. We have her for 4 days a week, Monday to Thursday, while she's at her dad's Friday to Sunday. From the beginning, Jane told me Emily doesn't need a second father figure as she has her dad to fill that role. I was only supposed to be a trusted authority figure in case she ever needed anything. I didn't mind and try my best to respect that boundary. She's a sweet child anyway and doesn't cause trouble, so it's not like I have to discipline her. Her father is also a good dad. Emily's dad recently got married, and his wife has 2 kids of her own who are at their place Wednesday to Saturday and at their dad's Sunday to Tuesday. Emily and her new step-siblings don't get along at all. They're always fighting, and it's pretty toxic. Emily's dad asked Jane if they can change their custody schedule to match his stepkids to keep the children apart. It's not a big deal in and of itself because we don't live far from each other, so picking and dropping is no issue and she can easily be dropped off to school no matter where she stays. The issue is my wife agreed to it without consulting me. Jane is currently doing a certification course for the next 12 months, and they have classes on Saturdays from 9 to 5 p.m. She asked me if I can babysit Emily on Saturdays, but I can't because I play golf with my brother and sister on Saturday mornings from 8 till 1. This has been our tradition from before Jane and Emily came into my life, and I told Jane from much before that this is important to me and my siblings. She asked if I can move to another day, but that's not possible either because my siblings also have jobs and families of their own, so Saturday was the best day for us. I told her she can hire a babysitter, but she doesn't want to spend money when I can do it for free. I told her that wouldn't work for me. Then she got mad and said golf is stupid and I should put my stepdaughter over my siblings. That pissed me off, so I told her I'm not going to sacrifice my hobbies just so she can have a free babysitter. For the record, I don't have anything against Emily. I've babysat her before and she's a great kid. If there was a family emergency or if it was an occasional occurrence, then yeah, I would cancel golf for that day to take care of her. But I can't give up something this important to me for 12 months continuous. She called me a selfish asshole and slept on the couch last night. So, am I the asshole? And we have some relevant comments for this one. Mountain Score 2402 says, "Not the butthole. It sounds like this is something that should have been worked out more carefully as a family before agreeing to. Is it possible that the dad or stepmom changed their kids' schedule as well? That way they have her when Jane is busy with certification courses. Info. Is there a kids' class or something like that where you go golfing? Could help integrate the two if a schedule change is not possible." OP replies, "There isn't, and even if there is, it would likely still have to be paid for. My wife doesn't want money to be spent to take care of Emily. She just wants me to do it for free." A downvoted commenter says, "Everybody sucks here. If this was the biological child, everyone would be calling him the butthole. It's just a damn shame stepkids are treated this way. I understand there was an agreement, but he did say he would be a trusted authority figure if she ever needed anything." OP replies, "Look, I don't disagree that kids should be treated well by their step-parents, but at the end of the day, it was Jane who set the ground rules on our relationship. Whenever I tried to play the role of a step-parent and influence any decisions regarding Emily, she would shut me down. I have to respect her boundaries. At the same time, I don't think it's right for her to unilaterally change the rules now that it's convenient for her. I suggested a babysitter, but she doesn't want to do that. I don't think it's right she gets to pick and choose when I'm supposed to be a parent and when I'm not. I also have an emotional investment." Another commenter says, "Not the butthole, but I don't get how people expect to date someone with a child and just be totally removed. It's callous thinking. I get not being the primary go-to person, but in all these stories it's so dumb to not expect to fill some parental duties when dating someone with a child. That child is a central part of the person you're dating. You can't just compartmentalize that or treat the child like a chore the bio parent is solely responsible for. I just feel like if you choose to date someone with kids, at some point you will get stuck doing some childcare duties, and it shouldn't be such a big deal that you do. Again, it's kind of heartless to date someone with kids, but then treat them as a separate entity entirely that you have zero concern for. Basically, people need to stop dating others that have kids if they aren't ready to some extent, even small, integrate that child into their life. The only excuse is if the child is a full-grown adult. It doesn't matter, but again, a little heartless and naive to think if your partner has a young kid that you'll never be relied on somehow for rides, care, or some management. It really feels like that commenter's going off about maybe something in their own life or somebody that they know, because OP really doesn't seem like he's not prepared to do things for Emily. It's more a case of being expected to give up a routine thing he always does with his family, because his wife agreed to a change in their schedule of when they have the stepdaughter, which she never discussed with him. And OP replies to that commenter saying, "I get what you're saying, but my wife was the one who wanted things to be this way. I was prepared to be a parental figure, but my wife explicitly told me on more than one occasion that I was not supposed to play that role. Whenever I've tried to say or do something that I felt was best for Emily, Jane would tell me it's not my responsibility and to not get involved. If she wants me to be a parent now, then she has to want me to be a parent all the time. I'm not a parent on demand who can just turn a switch. I don't think that's fair to either Emily or me." And his response to another comment, "I'm her stepdad only on paper. I have zero authority or input into how my stepdaughter is raised. Whenever I've tried to influence my wife's decisions on Emily, it was shut down. Why don't you pay for a babysitter if it matters this much to you? We do share finances, but it's still her responsibility to figure it out for Emily. Why is it my duty to figure out a solution? Why am I the only adult who is supposed to make a sacrifice?" Yeah, I think he's really not the butthole here. It seems like there are other reasonable solutions where he doesn't have to give up his time golfing with his brother and sister, which he's been doing every week for longer than he's even known his wife. And it also seems like it's something he maybe would be able to consider doing if he was already playing more of a kind of father figure role in Emily's life, at least when she's staying at their house. It does seem like the wife's being stubborn about something that they could probably easily solve just by getting a babysitter or, enrolling Emily in a kids club on Saturday mornings. The thing is, I kind of think if he was in more of a father figure kind of role, he might even consider taking Emily with him and getting her involved in those kind of family events that he does with his brother and sister, so that they can begin to see her as a niece of theirs. But with Jane kind of trying to keep the relationship between OP and Emily a bit more distant than that, it's probably not something that she'd be up for either. Still, we do have a final update, so we get to see how this all worked out. And OP says, "I want to say thank you to everyone for your kind words and voices of support. Emily deserves to feel cared for and not like a hot potato who no one wants. I spoke to my brother and his wife, and they've offered to let Emily stay at their home on Saturday morning with their children so that we can golf. My wife has also agreed, albeit reluctantly, to this arrangement. I've also told her that this arrangement isn't tenable anymore. If she expects me to have parental responsibilities towards Emily, then she needs to treat me like another parent of her daughter. We're going to family counselling to see how we can make this work." Okay, so that does sound like a positive ending for this situation, and who knows, if it's enabled them to start talking through the relationship that OP and Emily are going to have moving forward, it could even be a turning point towards something that's much better for everybody involved. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon for more wild tales from Reddit.